Google is among those top tech brands that we all know and love for their innovation. It seems that the innovation doesn't stop at the products either. Google is in the process of building a massive Landscraper in London's King's Cross neighborhood to serve as the company's new UK headquarters. In today's video, we're going to explore this new HQ and what exactly makes it so exceptional. After all, this isn't going to be your average office building. What is the Landscraper? Google's new London HQ was affectionately dubbed the Landscraper several years ago after it was revealed that the building will be as long as the Shard is tall. That's London's tallest building for reference. The main 11-story building commands a whopping 80,819 square meters of floor space and stretches across 330 meters of ground. The building will be equipped to serve 7,000 employees and have all the greatest amenities you've never believed are in an office. In order to create this behemoth, Google hired architect Thomas Heatherwick to design the massive space. Heatherwick cited the area's diverse collision of transit, industry, canals, and infrastructure as inspiring his design. He said, "We have treated this new building for Google like a piece of infrastructure too, made from a family of interchangeable elements which ensure that the building and its workspace will stay flexible for years to come." What exactly is so special about King's Cross? If you've never been to London, you'll likely recognize the area from the popular book series and films of Harry Potter as the train station where the Hogwarts Express departs. But what else is going on in the neighborhood, and why did Google decide to drop this giant campus right there? Why did Google pick King's Cross? Once upon a time, King's Cross was a booming and bustling area of London. This boom and bustle was created by the steam railways and Regent's Canal driving much of the industry for the city. This lasted until about the 1980s, when major industry departed the area and began to quickly decline into a less savory part of town. In the early 2000s, developers began a long and slow approach to reinvest in King's Cross and drive folks back into the area. Over the last 20 years or so, plenty of swanky new buildings, shops, and restaurants have popped up, which has led to many folks looking for great places to live nearby, inflating the overall value of the area. By the time Google was looking to centralize its UK offices into one unified building, King's Cross was a lively and bustling area once again. And the company was able to procure a valuable and tremendous piece of real estate immediately opposite the railway entrance. Other major companies have taken note as well. Facebook has also made plans to create a UK headquarters in the neighborhood, and any number of tech startups are procuring space in the area regularly. The easy transit access is highly desirable for these fast-paced tech employees. They can hop anywhere in the city rather easily with direct tubes access next door, and if they need to hop a train to a nearby country, like France, they practically couldn't be closer. Who designed this building? We mentioned Thomas Heatherwick earlier, but he didn't create this building on his own. The UK HQ was created through a collaboration of Heatherwick Studios and Copenhagen-based architect Bjarke Ingels. Heatherwick has established quite a name for himself as the person who not only redesigned London's iconic Routemaster double-decker buses, but also as the person who designed the flaming cauldron that caught everyone's attention at the 2012 London Olympics. Heatherwick and Ingels had an existing history of working with Google. Heatherwick was chosen to design the company's new Mountain View, California headquarters and partnered back then with Ingels as well. At the time of that project, it was critical to them that they weren't creating more of what they saw other big tech companies creating, buildings with this tarmac tutu around the edge. They weren't interested in creating a private city for the company, and thankfully, Google wasn't either. The result is a sprawling series of gigantic hangars that offer flexibility and efficiency. The tent-like appearance of the roof is more than just aesthetic. That's actually a giant solar panel setup to generate electricity. Clearly, the partnership went so well that Google has kept it going for plenty of ongoing buildings. Now that we know about the area and the folks involved, let's get to the good stuff. What's inside this sprawling landscraper? What is inside Google's new London HQ? Giant tech companies have become very well known for their lavish offices filled with cafes, gyms, and other excellent amenities for their employees. In such a competitive workforce, it's become clear that to retain great people, you need to give them a great place to work. So what is Google offering its London employees? Well, beyond the obvious cafes and meeting rooms, the building is equipped with a 3-lane, 25-meter swimming pool, massage rooms, a multi-use game area for sports like basketball and football, a lounge for video gaming, and a 210-seat auditorium for assemblies and product announcements. And that's just scraping the surface of the inside. Google's famous nap pods will be present for employees to unplug and recharge themselves during the day. The real highlight is the 300-meter rooftop garden. The garden is a landscaping marvel filled with different zones dedicated to different plants and wildlife, including what Google calls a pause area for decompressing. The roof will feature one of many cafes and a 200-meter running trail to get that midday cardio in. The entire structure is sitting on top of a plinth of retail and dining shops that will be creating an even sweeter experience for the employees. Ingalls and Heatherwick have carefully crafted each piece of the space to maximize efficiency and foster creativity. The King's Cross Station inspiration extends into a giant diagonal staircase stretching through the space, designed to reflect the imagery of King's Cross Concourse. Optimizing flow and efficiency is integral to Google's work, and that extends into how folks get around this campus. The corridors are designed to flow seamlessly to maximize employee efficiency, as well as the oft-lauded chance encounters. These are those chance meetings between employees who may not regularly work together, but bump into one another and inspire the next great product of design. Many tech folks have embraced these chance encounters and fostered open workspaces to try and create more of this energy. It's definitely beautiful, but why exactly is Google investing so much in this enormous office? Why is Google building this massive office block? Google operates several smaller offices across London, including spaces in Victoria and Covent Garden. This tremendous headquarters will unify the entire team into one committed space instead of being spread out all over. At the time that Google conceived and began work on this office, it seemed like an absolutely excellent idea. But recent events have changed the overall perception of giant office blocks like this. The coronavirus pandemic shifted the workforce to more remote, and Google employees are still primarily working from home, at least at the time of this writing. A massive office dedicated to thousands of employees seems like a complete waste of space now. But Google remains committed to bringing employees back to the office when it's safe. The building construction was stalled during various lockdowns, but it has since resumed. Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai has admitted that a modest percentage of Google employees will likely be able to continue working remotely even after it's safe to return to the office. But he has also stressed the importance of bringing people back to work together in person. In an interview with Time magazine, Pichai said, "We firmly believe that being together, having that sense of community, is super important whenever you need to solve hard problems. So we don't think the future is 100% remote." This may be distressing news to some of Google's 118,000 global employees, but it would seem that eventually many of these folks will be making their way back into the office. But at least if you're in London, it'll be a fancy, beautiful, brand new office. Why Google's new London HQ will be helpful to the city. Major cities have taken a huge hit from the pandemic. Bars, restaurants, shops, and local businesses have been forced to pivot tremendously, and many more didn't make it through to the other side. Major metropolitan areas like London, which rely so heavily on both tourists and young professionals frequenting the busy city areas, have been particularly badly hit. Google's new London HQ could be a major lifeline to a city in need. Bringing together that many well-paid employees into a major city area will definitely bring some much-needed dollars back to the local businesses. And as more tech companies follow in Google's footsteps, more and more folks will be hustling to the area for work and for play. What do you think of Google's new London HQ? Is it a brilliant stroke of design and innovation, or is it a tremendous waste of space in a changed world? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to come back for more tech news.